What if a single second could change your entire life? What if a forgotten piece of paper or a random number on a screen suddenly made you a millionaire? We see the staged press conferences and the giant checks all the time, but what about the real moment? The one no one is supposed to see? The raw, unedited shock before the cameras are even ready, because sometimes a camera is already rolling. A friend with a phone, a news crew doing a lighthearted story, a family recording a simple moment. And it's in those moments, a million miles away from the press releases and staged photos, that we see the truth of what happens when a piece of paper holds not just numbers, but a new life. Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on the most insane, emotional, and unbelievable moments in history. These are the lottery winners who found out they won on camera. And trust me, the cameras captured more than just a winning number. They captured humanity itself. The Powerball jackpot had reached a mind-boggling $587.5 million. It was the second largest in history at the time. The entire nation was buzzing. Everyone had a ticket. Everyone had a dream. The numbers were drawn: 5, 16, 22, 23, 29, and the Powerball 6. 2 winning tickets. One in Missouri, which we'll get to later, and one in Arizona. But for weeks, no one came forward. The winner was a ghost. People talked. Theories swirled. Did they lose the ticket? Did they not know they won? The suspense was unbearable. Then weeks later, a man stepped forward. His name was Matthew Good. But he wasn't a man of flashy suits or big smiles. He was a quiet, reserved person who worked at a local convenience store. He said he wanted to remain anonymous, to keep his life as normal as possible. And he did. For a while, he was just a name and a small photo. But the media is like a bloodhound. They don't let go. A local news team decided to do a follow-up story on the store where the winning ticket was sold, just to see if anyone had any new information. And that's when the camera captured the moment no one expected. A reporter is standing outside the store talking to the camera for a simple, "Where are they now? Peace." Suddenly, a man walks out of the store talking on his phone. He looks right at the camera, hesitates for a second, and then keeps walking. He's wearing a baseball cap pulled low and a simple hoodie. The reporter, completely oblivious, keeps talking. The mystery of the winner still hangs in the air. But the cameraman's trained eye caught something. It was just a glance, a nervous twitch, the way the man's eyes darted away. A week later, the Arizona Lottery finally released a short video statement. The man, the one who wanted to remain completely anonymous, spoke for less than a minute. And his voice, his mannerisms, they were identical to the man who walked out of the store. He was caught. He walked past a camera doing a story about his own secret identity, and he didn't even know it. Was it a coincidence, or was it the universe having a laugh? The ghost winner was a ghost no longer, and his million-dollar secret for a brief, heart-stopping moment was almost exposed to the world. The only thing standing in the way was a simple reporter who, thankfully for Matthew, didn't have a clue. What would you do if your family won hundreds of millions of dollars? Would you scream? Would you cry? Would you jump on the furniture? Or would you just sit there? The Hills family from Missouri were the other half of that massive $587.5 million Powerball jackpot. And unlike the mysterious Arizona winner, the Hills were an open book. They were a normal family. He was an auto plant worker. She was a stay-at-home mom. They were just trying to get by, like the rest of us. They bought their ticket on a whim, a group ticket with other family members. And on a cold night, with the news buzzing about the Arizona winner, the Hills gathered their family and started checking the numbers. But they didn't want to watch the official lottery website. They wanted to do it their own way. They recorded the moment on a simple phone, a testament to how humble they were. The husband, with a calm, almost surgical precision, begins to read the numbers out loud. 5, 16, 22, 23, 29. With each number, a small smile flickers across their faces, but no one screams, no one even moves. It's an agonizing slow-motion reveal. The suspense is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Then the final number, the Powerball. He reads it out. 6. And for a second there is silence, just a hushed collective gasp. You can hear a child in the background whisper, "We won." The husband just turns to his wife, his eyes wide with disbelief, and says, "We won." And that's it. No jumping up and down, no yelling, just a quiet, reverent acknowledgement of a life-changing moment. They didn't even show the ticket on camera. They simply sat there, together, letting the reality sink in. Later, when they did the press conference, they were just as quiet, just as humble. They said they were going to use the money to pay off their debts, help family, and just take care of themselves. In a world full of flash and noise, the Hills reminded us that the biggest moments don't always come with the biggest reactions. Sometimes the most profound emotions are the quietest. What's the most expensive thing you've ever forgotten to do? Pay a bill? Pick up groceries? Or maybe buy a lottery ticket? This is the story of a group of friends, all IT professionals from Quebec, who almost missed their multi-million-dollar chance. They had a long-standing tradition. They'd chip in a few bucks and buy a ticket for the weekly Lotto Max draw. But one week they almost forgot. The draw was on a Friday, and it was already Thursday evening. The tickets had to be purchased before midnight. One of the friends, a man named Guy, remembered at the last minute. He called another friend, his voice filled with a mild panic. The friend, Martin, a logical, no-nonsense IT guy, said, "Don't worry, I'll handle it." He drove to a local convenience store and just before the deadline bought a single ticket. He didn't think about it again. The friends went about their lives, coding and debugging and managing servers, completely unaware of the small piece of paper that was sitting in Martin's pocket. The next day, the lottery officials called. Martin's phone rang. It was the Lottery Corporation. He thought it was a prank. He laughed it off. He told his friends, "Guys, the lottery is calling me. They say we won." No one believed him. They all just shook their heads and went back to work. But the calls kept coming. The lottery officials were insistent. "Mr. Charon, please, you need to check your numbers." Finally, Martin gave in. He went online, pulled up the winning numbers, and opened his wallet. The camera footage, released later by the lottery, shows the group of 5 friends, all in a room, watching as Martin pulls out the ticket. The suspense is palpable. They all look like they're about to have a collective heart attack. Martin's hands are shaking. He holds the ticket up. The other friends lean in, their faces an inch from his. He reads the numbers, one by one, and then he just stares at the ticket. The camera zooms in on his face. His mouth is open, his eyes wide. He turns to his friends, not saying a word, just pointing at the ticket with a trembling finger. The other men look at the ticket. A beat passes, 2 beats. Then a collective ear-splitting cheer erupts. They hug, they jump, they scream. One of them, a man named Jean-Pierre, simply buries his face in his hands and sobs. He later admitted it was the first time he had cried in 20 years. Their story is a testament to what we already know, that luck favors the prepared, but it also sometimes just favors the forgetful. They were just a few hours away from missing out on $60 million, and a simple phone call, a friendly reminder, changed their lives forever. Not all lottery wins are a happy story from the start. For some, the luck comes at a time of profound grief. It's a cruel, ironic twist of fate. A question hangs in the air. Can a jackpot truly fix a broken heart? This is the story of Jessica Macaron, a successful New Jersey lawyer who, on the surface, had it all. But just a few years earlier, her life was shattered. She lost her parents in a terrible accident. The trauma, the grief, it was a weight she carried every day. She channeled her pain into her work, becoming one of the most successful lawyers in her firm. She also started playing the lottery, not out of a deep belief she would win, but as a small, quiet act of hope, a ritual that connected her to a future she wasn't sure she had. One day, her TV host brother-in-law invited her on a show. He was doing a segment on people who played the lottery and never won. A light-hearted, fun bit. They were going to surprise her on live TV, but not with a win. They were going to surprise her with a consolation prize for her many losses. A trip, maybe, a dinner. But the host, an emotional man, decided to do something different. He told her he had gotten her a lottery ticket, a new one, and he was going to read the numbers live on air. It was a joke, a gag. Jessica, ever the professional, just smiled politely. The audience laughed. The host, with a dramatic flair, began to read the numbers. The New Jersey lottery numbers are 12, 24, 31. Jessica's polite smile never wavered. She nodded along, but as he read the last number, her face changed. Her eyes widened just for a second. The host, caught up in his joke, didn't notice, but the cameras did. They captured a flash of pure recognition, a spark of disbelief in her eyes. The camera stayed on her, her face a mask of shock. The host, still joking, said, "Jessica, I'm afraid to tell you, you just won a new car." But Jessica didn't respond. She just stood there. The host, a little confused, turned to her. "Jessica, are you okay?" She just shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes. She wasn't crying because she had won a car. She was crying because she had just realized she had won $2 million, live on television. The host finally realized his joke had come true. He looked at the ticket and back at her. The audience gasped. Jessica, her voice trembling, finally spoke. I just can't believe this is happening." She later said the money wouldn't fix her broken heart, but it would give her the chance to help others. She started a foundation in her parents' name. It's a powerful, almost spiritual lesson. The biggest gifts in life sometimes come when we are at our lowest, reminding us that even in the darkest of moments, hope can be found. What would you do if you were a ghost? A man who came back from the dead? This is the story of Bill Morgan, an Australian man who, in 1999, had a very bad year. He had a heart attack, was declared clinically dead for 14 minutes, and was in a coma for 12 days. The doctors told his family to prepare for the worst. But somehow, improbably, he came back. He didn't just survive, he came back with a new perspective on life. He decided to quit his job, move to a new town, and just live. As if to welcome him back to the land of the living, he bought a scratch-off lottery ticket one day. He scratched it, and unbelievably, he won a car. A brand new Toyota. He was ecstatic. It was a second miracle. A local news station heard about his incredible story. The man who died, came back, and then won a lottery car. It was a feel-good story they couldn't pass up. They wanted to do a follow-up piece. They wanted him to reenact the moment he won. It was a simple request. "Bill, just go back to the store and pretend to buy a scratch-off ticket. We'll film you and talk about your incredible luck." Bill, a humble man, agreed. He went back to the store. The camera was rolling. The reporter was ready. Bill, with a half smile, bought a ticket. He scratched it. Not for a story, but just for the fun of it. The camera zoomed in on his hands, his fingers scratching away at the card, and then his face changed. The smile disappeared. His eyes widened. He stared at the card. The reporter, still in character, said, "So, Bill, what are you pretending to win this time?" Bill didn't answer. He just held up the ticket, his hand trembling. He had won. Again. But this time it wasn't a car. It was a staggering $250,000. On camera, as a part of a fake reenactment of his first win. The reporter just stared at him, speechless. The cameraman, a professional, kept the camera steady, but you could hear a small, involuntary gasp from behind the lens. The absurdity of it all was too much. The man who came back from the dead had just won a fortune while pretending to win a prize he had already won. It's a story that feels like something out of a movie. A man gets a second chance at life, and then, while reenacting the luckiest moment of his life, he gets a third. It makes you wonder. Maybe some people are just born lucky. Or maybe, just maybe, life is just one big, ironic joke. Why are these stories so powerful? Why do they grab us and refuse to let go? It's because they're not just about money. They're about that universal human need for hope. For a moment, for a brief, fleeting second, we all get to imagine what we would do. We see ourselves in those faces. The trembling hands of a humble family. The choked-up tears of an emotional lawyer. The simple, quiet joy of a man who just wanted to live. These aren't lottery winners. They're real people, caught in the midst of a real, life-altering moment. A moment that, for better or worse, was captured forever. The camera didn't just record a number, it recorded a story. It recorded a twist of fate, and it serves as a powerful reminder that life isn't always fair, but sometimes, just sometimes, it can be unbelievably, ridiculously, wonderfully lucky. And you never know when a simple, unassuming piece of paper will turn into the most cinematic moment of your life. So what would you do? What would you say? What would your face look like? What would the camera capture? If a camera caught your million-dollar moment, would you hide? Would you scream? Would you cry? Or would you, like the Hills family, just sit there in quiet, beautiful disbelief? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear your dream come true story. And if you enjoyed this journey into the world of instant millionaires, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more unbelievable stories, and share this video with someone who needs a little bit of hope. Because you never know when your luck might turn, and you never know when a simple, unassuming camera might be there to catch it all.